Hey, what's going on, everyone? There are some major changes going on behind the scenes here at Primetime Treasure headquarters, and I think in eBay as well. We're going to get to that a little bit later because a lot of people have been messaging me asking about what's going on with eBay. Sales seem to be a lot slower than normal, and you're doing the same thing that you used to do, so it must be something about the platform. We're going to get into that a little bit later because this time I think people are onto something. There is something different going on, and that actually relates to one of the several major changes that are going on with me. So a little peek behind the curtain here. I just wrote a $20,000 check. Now, normally that doesn't sound like a good thing, but for me, I'm actually relieved. I wrote a $20,000 check to get rid of my graduate school loans. And this comes in a transition phase for me. There's lots of transitions I'm going through right now. My daughter is going to turn 18 next month, and she is heading off to college. I'm very proud of her. She got a nice amount of academic scholarship money, but there's still a substantial bill left over. And, you know, a lot of people have written me and they ask me, like, they know about my full-time job, they know what I do, and they say, I don't understand why you resell. Well, number one, I love it. And I love it because I always wanted to start my own business. I always wanted to, do something related to collectibles and stuff like that, specifically comic books. But then the other issue has to do with being able to save up enough money to be able to pay for college for my kids. And a lot of people out here watching are in a similar situation. No matter how much money I would have put aside with my regular job, it still would not have been enough to cover it and still live comfortably. So having the side hustle income has helped out significantly. That doesn't just include eBay, it includes a lot of the other social media stuff that I do, income from this channel, income from my Facebook group, income from affiliate marketing, income from my medical website where people pay to have blog posts put up, and there's advertising revenue that comes in through Google ads on there. So there's lots of different places that I pull from, but overall, after putting it all together, the business has just grown year after year after year. And, you know, when saying to myself, all right, it's time, I've got to start, it's going to have to be time where I have to pay those college bills soon. I didn't want to have to worry about my own graduate school debt, and so I finally just wiped it all out after doing my taxes. And I hope that that's something that's inspirational to a lot of people here, because that's taken years and years and years to get up to that level that I felt comfortable to even do that. And it is definitely possible. So let's get on to the next one. Now, the next major change that just happened is that we finally hit 1,000 items listed in the eBay store. This is something I've been trying to accomplish for a long time, but it hasn't been easy due to my full-time job, family responsibilities, other things that I have going on, and also trying to make sure that these are quality listings. That's been very important for me. To me, it doesn't matter how many items you have listed if they're not good listings. And of course, you also have to have these listings sell. So I'm also happy to report that the 1,000 listings is associated with about $16,500 in gross revenue. Now, that number doesn't matter much either if you're not profitable. That's why I try to show on the channel when I go sourcing how much money I'm getting things for, and then I do the what's sold videos to give you a sense of profitability. So we're at about 60 to 70% profit margins, just depends on the time of year and what it is we're selling at that particular time. And that's because of the bulk sourcing model that we use, mostly in acquiring collectibles. And so when we do that, we're usually able to get our money back and sometimes be profitable after selling one or two items or a fraction of items if I bought like a massive comic collection, for example. So that's helped, but I also use a high-end exclusive purchasing model as well, where I buy these high-end comic books or high-end comic art. I don't get as many of those things because it costs more to initially acquire, but the amount of money that I'm making is much more than those smaller flips, even though it's not as many times my money. So I make more times my money buying something for 50 cents and flipping it for $20, but I don't make as much money if I bought something for $500 and flipped it for $1,500. So both of those models are things that we blend together. Now, I recognize that 1,000 listings is going to seem like so what to a lot of people. Even that $16,500 in 90 days is going to seem like so what. That's fine. That's fine. You just got to be happy with where you're at for your situation. So if you're at 100 listings, 200 listings, I feel like I'm doing a little dance, 500 listings, that's fine. Just have goals on where you want to get to. We want to continue to grow it and keep moving it up. 1,500, 2,000. At a certain point, you might just be happy with where you're at and then just try to maintain it. It's all about what's good for you, what's going on in your life. So try your best not to do too much to compare. Although sometimes comparisons can be a little bit motivational. So I don't want to say never compare. Sometimes you hear that. Sometimes you use that for a little inspiration. That is okay. Also, if you find yourself having setbacks, you're trying to get to that certain number, but then you sell 10, 20 items. My best suggestion, what we found to do, is to take photos of similar items and as many photos as we need to get to the next number we want to get to. So if we want to get to 20 more items listed, 30 more items listed, we would take 20 to 30 photographs of a similar thing, comic books, mugs, pins, jewelry, whatever, and then we just go list them all. So when I say we, I want to give a shout out to my wife, Mrs. Primetime, because she has helped out with this as well. She started listing in the business about a year or two ago. She's brought a lot of jewelry, Disney items, pins to the store, and we're just going to keep expanding it. So hopefully this is inspirational to some people watching, and we just feel now that we see that 1,000 listings that it is we're at a different level at this point. Just to see those 4 numbers there is cool, and we definitely want to at a minimum maintain it, but we do plan to grow it. Now, the last major change I want to talk to you about in my business right now has to do with major changes that I see going on within eBay, within the e-commerce space in general, and also major changes in terms of where I see future trends going, in terms of where people are going to go more and more to buy and resell items. And I like to be proactive with my business, not reactive and waiting until the very last moment, which is why I want to share this with you now. Now, I also want to know from you, before I get into this, down below in the comment section, let me know if you've noticed changes in your reselling metrics this calendar year, especially if you sell on eBay. Let me know if you've noticed any declines in terms of your revenue that you're bringing in, but also in terms of how many offers you're receiving, how many offers to watchers that you get, how many people are watching your items, and also how many views you're getting. Now, I just put up my recent 90-day gross revenue total, and that's pretty stable, so I'm not complaining there. But I have noticed that it's been more difficult to get to that number. So there are fewer watchers, there are fewer offers to send out, there are fewer views on items and that sort of thing. Now, if you're doing the same with all those things, or if you're doing better, let me know that as well. But I've had a lot of people independently message me that they've noticed a change. Not only have they noticed a change, but they noticed it since the beginning of this year. Like since 2022 started, people have noticed a big change. And I haven't voiced this on YouTube before. So for all of these people to be messaging me not only a change, but also the time frame of it, leads me to think that there's some validity to it, especially given all of the news that I've been covering for you in terms of what's been going on with the eBay and their recent financial reports. One of the things I think is going on is that they are putting a much bigger emphasis on selling things to what they call a high value buyer. So these are people who are spending many hundreds, like close to $1,000 or thousands of dollars on the platform in one sitting. So these are people buying the high-end luxury purses, luxury watches, luxury handbags, really expensive sports cards and stuff like that. That's who they're catering to. They're going to move next into, high dollar auto parts and things like that. They're not really trying to focus on what built eBay from the beginning, which are the bread and butter item sellers like most of us who are out there. And so as a result, I think that that's resulting in some decreased visibility. Now, if you sell in those high-end luxury markets, that's great. And that might be an area where people are going to have to adapt to in terms of trying to move into those areas if it's possible, and trying to experiment with breaking into some of those niches if you want to stay on the eBay platform. But another thing that I see going on within eBay is more and more of an emphasis on people having to pay to get their items seen. So promoted listings has changed compared to what it used to be, and now with a promoted listing platform on there that encourages pay per click, there's a lot of people now who are just, paying for clicks. And so that's going to decrease visibility of people who aren't paying at all to promote their listings. I surgically promote my listings. So what I mean by that is there's only certain types of listings that I'll promote, which are items that are under $20 that just haven't sold within a 30-day period. That's it. For the more expensive items, no, I'm not promoting those. And so I've noticed a change. And so I've also noticed a change in terms of how resellers in general are starting to view these third-party platforms with more and more anger. And it's not just eBay. I've been covering a lot of stuff going on with Etsy, stuff going on with Poshmark, Mercari. There's sellers mad at these platforms for a lot of things, and it's happening more and more. Recently, and I'm going to cover this in an upcoming news story, a lot of Etsy sellers are going on strike because of the increase in fees on the platform, even though Etsy's making record-shattering profits. And so, a lot of sellers are upset at that. And I think what's going to happen more and more is that the trend that I'm noticing is that people are going to more and more go direct to consumer. You've already started to see that happen with YouTube auctions, and now that's happening with live selling apps. The most popular one right now is called Whatnot. You might have heard me talk about it a few times. I just started moving some of my business inventory over to Whatnot, particularly comic books. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to have comic books listed on eBay, but I'm going to sell much more of them on the Whatnot platform. Just think about what happened during my first sale there the other day. I sold 69 items in just a few hours and had a 97% sell-through rate. That's with my first auction, and I wasn't even bringing my best stuff there. Now, if the word auction scares you away, they have a buy it now feature as well. So you don't have to use auction if you don't want to. And the auction formats are really flexible. You could put in all different time frames that you want, and you could do a soft close if you want to, where if people are bidding towards the last 10 seconds, it's going to extend the bids automatically. You don't have to worry about monitoring this in like a chat like on YouTube. It's much better. It's much more streamlined. I think that people are fed up with having to pay for promoted listings, or like what Etsy does, they'll just go promote the listings themselves, and if it sells, then they take 12% out of it in terms of a cut. All Whatnot takes as a cut is 8%, and then there's your payment that you've got to do as a processing fee through your PayPal. But then that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to take pictures if you don't want to, because you're selling live. You don't have to enter much of a description at all if you don't want to, because again, you're selling live. You don't even have to enter much else beyond that. All you have to do is select a category, and they're all pre-made categories. You're just pressing buttons. You just press how much you estimate that it weighs. And after the first item sells, and it's just priority mail shipping and it's first class shipping, that's what they do. After the first item sells, and it's not even that much, like $4 or $5 for the first item, everything after that costs $1. Doesn't matter what you're buying. You could buy something huge, massive, doesn't matter. It's just going to cost you $1 extra. It's crazy. It's amazing. This is not something that I just jumped into lightly. This is something that I did a lot of research about. I read a lot on it. I talked to a lot of people. I saw a lot of people who I know who are established, who are doing this, and they're absolutely crushing it on the platform. And then I decided to go on there, not initially as a seller, but as a buyer, and to see what the experiences was like as a buyer first. And I had a great experience. If you're interested in it, I suggest checking it out. What you want to do is you want to click the link in the description section, which will give you a $10 credit if you just use that link and sign up. It's free to sign up, and so you go and test it out if you want. If you spend something, then they'll give me $10 in return. So everyone benefits from it. But I wouldn't tell you about it if I didn't believe in it, and if I wasn't using it, and if I didn't know so many other people that are crushing it on the platform. So I would highly encourage, if you could at all do it, is to develop some sort of social media presence, whether that's getting yourself on Instagram, getting yourself on YouTube, doing something more with Facebook, starting a little group or something like that. That's really important. Now, if that's not your thing, if you don't foresee yourself doing that, then again, start branching into new niches, start expanding into different platforms besides the one that you're on that you're the most frustrated with. There's lots of other opportunities out there. You don't have to feel pinned into one place. Whatnot will continue to expand. Right now, it is really mostly focused on people who have a lot of inventory that they could burn through. So if you only have a few items, it's not going to be the place for you. You need to have a lot of things that you're going to be able to get through and sell. So if you have a lot of inventory, it's definitely a place, and it's worth submitting a seller application to see if you could get approved for listing. And as it grows more and more, I think more and more people will get approved. But those are the major changes for now. I was excited to share them with you. We'll get back to the normal types of videos after this, but sometimes I got to share these kind of things with you and let you know what's going on behind the scenes. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I got another Whatnot auction tonight. If you're watching this, it's going to be on Friday, the 25th, and it's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully I'll see you there. I'll put a link to it in the description section as well, so you could come check out the show if you're interested. I'm on the platform at Prime Time Treasure. I'll see you there, everyone. Take care.